Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, August 6th. This is Gina Palma. Today we will see a mix of wet and dry lightning up across the northern third of the Great Basin, along with some wetter thunderstorms, especially in the higher terrain of Utah. These thunderstorms will have gusty outflow winds. On Wednesday and Thursday, however, thunderstorm coverage will pick up across the Great Basin with a good chance of widespread drier lightning over western and northern Nevada up into Idaho on Wednesday, and a mix of wet and dry further east with wetter thunderstorms confined to maybe the eastern half of the Great Basin. On Thursday, we'll still have a threat of mixed wet and dry or dry thunderstorms over the western areas of the Great Basin. These thunderstorms, again, will be fairly widespread and have gusty outflow winds. Looking at the last 24 hours, we saw thunderstorms generally across the eastern half of the Great Basin. These were mainly on the wetter side, especially across Utah and also across southeast Idaho. We did have moderate initial attack across the Great Basin yesterday with over 5,000 acres of growth on our large fires reported. Over the last 7 days, we've seen precipitation with thunderstorm activity confined to the eastern half of the Great Basin, and over the last 2 weeks, the precipitation we did see with thunderstorms was generally near to just above normal over parts of Utah and Nevada, but largely the Great Basin is still below normal with respect to precipitation over the last 2 to 5 weeks. Current ERCs are indicated here on our point map. They have been increasing across northern and western areas and decreasing still across Utah as that moisture remained in place. However, across Idaho and much of Nevada into northern Utah, ERCs are above the 70th to 80th percentile. Looking at a couple of our ERC charts, these ERCs are above normal for the time of year and similar to where our ERCs were last year over parts of western and northern Nevada into northern Utah and up into Idaho. Looking at our 10-hour fuel moisture, more representative of our fine fuels. Again, very dry conditions over the western half of the Great Basin, and these fine fuels have been moderated over eastern areas where thunderstorms continue. Looking at our satellite image from this morning, we still have the Four Corners high pressure in place, keeping areas hot, and also plenty of moisture rotating around that area of high pressure into the Great Basin. We also do have some mid and upper level remnant tropical moisture that's moving over western areas. And again, this will be the focus for our dry lightning as we move through the next few days. Looking at our weather pattern for later today, we start to see that increase in moisture again over southern areas of the Great Basin, with thunderstorms increasing across Utah and parts of the south. We also still have remnant moisture up across Idaho, and we will likely see thunderstorms redevelop again across Idaho. We also may see some thunderstorms develop into far northeast Nevada, far southern Idaho, and far northern Utah. We do have a little bit of moisture to work with also along the Sierra Front into far northwest Nevada. We could see a few isolated storms today, but again, any of these storms would be very isolated with a better chance as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. Therefore, we have no high risk issued for today. As we go into the afternoon, we will see relative humidity drop into the single digits and low teens across many areas, with the exception of parts of the eastern areas of the Great Basin. Also, our lightning activity again will be increasing across the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, and also a mix of wet and dry storms, more isolated to widely scattered over the northern tier of the region. As we move into Wednesday, we see more moisture move up across the Great Basin. This is still in the way of mid and high level moisture, so again, thunderstorms that we do see develop on Wednesday out over western and northern Nevada into southwest Idaho will be on the drier side. So we do have that high risk issued for dry lightning on Wednesday over a fairly large area. Anywhere further east, over eastern Nevada into much of Utah, these thunderstorms would be on the wetter side. The main threat, again, will be new fire starts and also gusty and dry outflow winds. Looking at our relative humidity for Wednesday, we will see a slight increase as this moisture does move north. However, again, most of the thunderstorms will be producing little precipitation over western and northern areas. As we move into Thursday, the main focus for lightning moves across the northern half of the region and across Utah. We do still have some high risk out across western and northern Nevada and southwest Idaho. However, these thunderstorms may be transitioning to more of a mix of wet and dry, but still any area that does not receive precipitation will have the threat for new fire starts and gusty outflow winds. Looking at Thursday, you can still see the drier conditions out across western areas of the Great Basin, with relative humidity increasing over the eastern half of the region and north across Idaho. And you can see Thursday the lightning really increases across all areas of the Great Basin. Again, more of a mix of wet and dry as we go into western and northern Nevada and southwest Idaho, but just with the amount of lightning and still very dry areas, the risk for new fire starts and spread will be on the high side. Looking at our 3-day amount of forecast precipitation, you can see precipitation very spotty with the lightning activity out across Nevada. The better chances of wetting rains will be in the higher terrain of Utah and also up into central Idaho and western Wyoming. As we move into Friday, the main threat will be the drier air moving in and also the increase in winds. We will see gusty winds along the Sierra Front and also over southern and eastern Nevada. So we do have high risk for those areas. This will also push the lightning a little bit further north up into Idaho. Again, being a mix of wet and dry, and after a couple days of lightning, we do not have any high risk for these thunderstorms on Friday. As we move into Saturday, the dry air and gusty winds spread further east across most of Utah and Nevada. We do not have any high risk issued yet, but we could have a fairly widespread area of gusty to strong winds, so we will be looking at the potential for some high risk for wind and dry conditions across Nevada and Utah on Saturday. By Sunday, drier air spreads across the Great Basin with most lightning activity pushed further north and east, and then drier conditions continue on Monday. The 7-day total amount of precipitation is indicated here, again mostly what we'll see with the lightning over the next few days. Looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from August 13th through 19th, looking at drier and warmer conditions across the Great Basin, so we could see eastern areas of the basin starting to dry out. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.